I'm Kyle Long. You're listening to Cultural Manifesto on 90.1 WFYI Public Radio. I'm joined in the studio this evening by Sean Stuart, better known as Lonegevity. Sean is half of the hip-hop duo Hinx Jones, also the founder of the hip-hop blog Bringing Down the Band and No Cosign Records. Hello, Sean.
Hello, Kyle.
Thank you for being here. I appreciate it.
I appreciate you.
Sean, you have a new album out. It's called Soul Hop. It's a Hinx Jones album. We're going to talk about that album today and play some tracks. I think it's a great album. The production sounds great, and the guest features are great, and you guys have some excellent lyrics on the LP, and I'm eager to play some of those tracks. But first, I wanted to learn a little bit more about your background. I work a lot with the second half of Hinx Jones, Clarence, and I understand that you guys grew up in Anderson, Indiana, and spent most of your life in Anderson. Is that right?
Yeah, we were in band together. So we went to high school, we went to Anderson High School in the late 90s. He played trombone, which if you've seen him play, you know he plays trombone. But he played low brass too. He played baritone, tuba, trumpet on occasions. And I played trumpet. So that's kind of where we started meeting, that's where we met.
Yeah. You were in marching or high school.
We were in high school
marching band.
Yeah, he was a year old. He's a year older than me. So we really, we knew each other in marching bands, but where we really started to connect and all that stuff was jazz band. So it was Clarence playing trombone, I played trumpet, and then a friend of ours, Major 7th, who's a producer from here, he played trumpet too. So that's kind of the very early fabric of how our relationship turned into what it is musically.
What was it like? You said you grew up there in the 90s in Anderson. What was it like being a teenager in Anderson in the 90s? Was there a lot of music happening? I can't imagine there was a hip-hop scene in Anderson in the 90s, was there?
No, I don't think so. There's always a hip-hop scene somewhere, like in places, but not very prevalent. Even when we were growing up past high school and we were like making music in Anderson, there really wasn't a scene there. There were a couple guys that people knew of, the guy I went to high school with, he raps a little bit, but it wasn't like out doing things. So, no, I didn't really get into hip hop until I was probably in like middle school, early high school. And that's when I got exposed to more people. I was the first year, so I was a freshman in 97. And for anybody that was around that time period and went to high school around that time period, that's when Anderson and Madison Heights consolidated. So that was when two schools formed into one in the same city. So our school was really big. So there were a lot of people. Our band was huge. And that's where I got introduced to more different people,
Sure.
And that's where I met Mike, Major 7th, and Clarence. And Mike was really into Wu-Tang Clan and, stuff like that, and RZA, production stuff.
Cash rules everything around me. Cream, get the money. Dollar bill, yo.
That's when hip-hop kind of exploded for me. Like, I saw Black Star's Respiration video, and I'm like, yo, this is crazy.
The new moon rode high in the crown of the metropolis, shining like who on top of this? People was hustling, arguing and bustling. Gangsters of Gotham, hardcore hustling. I'm wrestling with words and ideas.
That's when it kind of happened for me.
So you bonded with Major 7th and Clarence, who goes by Grits, and Hinx Jones over this interest and love of hip-hop music?
It was more so, the funny thing, it really wasn't hip-hop. That was just kind of a side thing. It was really just the love of music, and it was jazz at that time. Hip-hop was just kind of a side thing, and that's something that I kind of picked up on and I kind of fell in love with, and so it just kind of manifested into it. If you know Clarence, which you know him a little bit, he's not even really a hip-hop head. He likes hip-hop, but he just loves music.
Yeah, he just lives to play music.
Yeah,
period.
He's a Beatles guy. I can have a conversation with him about hip-hop going on today, and he won't have any clue of what I'm talking about.
So how did this relationship you had with Clarence and that school jazz band, how did that develop into Hinx Jones?
After high school, I stopped playing trumpet. I'm not really sure what Clarence did right after high school, but I kept into close contact with Mike. He was going to Ball State. He was a year ahead of me, so, he would come back. He would, send me songs that he was working on and stuff like that in the group that he was in over there. So I got a call from Clarence and Mike, they came back. He was like, hey, we're going to record an album in the band room. Do you want to come and be a part of it? I was like, all right, cool. So it was a mixture of all of different musicians, sprinkled, and it was like live horns, but we had some hip-hop songs on there too. So I got reintroduced to him there, and Mike was talking more about production stuff, and I was like, I think I want to get into this. And so that's when I grabbed him, I was like, let's go buy something. I went and bought Acid Music 3 from Best Buy. And that's when I started producing. About a year later or so, when I was kind of getting into it, I ran into Clarence and I was like, yeah, I got some beats. I know he rapped a little bit. So, and then we kind of slowly kind of got back together. Now, every once in a while, just kind of fiddling around. And that evolved into doing more stuff together. I started working with some other people, and we ended up forming a 5-man group in 2005, which lasted for 2 years, which is where a majority of our growth happened.
And what was that called?
We went by Quality.
Okay.
But it was phonetically spelled funny, so it was like Qualite. But
yeah.
So Clarence and I kind of bonded musically in that group, even more so. And when that group kind of disbanded, I was moving to Indianapolis I was finishing school up and kind of ready to get into a bigger area, All of us small towners kind of understand that. Basically, I was like, I think this is a good time for us to really kind of hit it kind of heavy, We just kind of formed a group. So we made 10-track project from scratch called the 10-piece. I wouldn't let anybody hear it today, but it was an accomplishment to us. We were like, we can actually put out something that's not bad. Things started going in our head like, hey, this is something that, we could probably do at a high level if we continue at it. So from there, I guess the natural evolution of it is we finally figured out the name Hinx Jones, which is my brother's middle name is Hinx, not with an X, but it's like a family name. Mm-hmm. And his last name is Jones. So that's where it came from. It's nothing too clever.
Just sounded cool.
Yeah,
I'm Lonegevity, one of the hosts for this evening. Grits is around here somewhere. And we're Hinx Jones. We wanted to introduce ourselves. Yeah. Yourself. With this little EP or 11 piece or whatever you want to call it.
You mentioned your entry into producing beats,
mm-hmm.
and I did want to ask you to kind of describe your sound as a producer.
Mm-hmm.
You came to hip-hop from playing in a jazz band in high school, and there is a great musicality in the beats you make. It's not just strictly taking a sample and then looping it over and over again, which you hear a lot of maybe bad producers doing.
Right. It's evolved and changed throughout the years. I started out as almost strictly a sample producer, because I couldn't recreate the sounds that I wanted. That's kind of where it started from, and I did that for like 5-6 years straight, and I was like, I'm pretty good at this now, what's next? And it's kind of evolved to the point to where I don't really sample a lot anymore. I guess at this point where I'm at right now, I don't really have a limit on it. At the end of the day, I really have in the back of my mind that I want it to be mine, so I tend not to sample as much anymore, and I don't feel like I have to. Even if I sample, I'll play stuff on top of it, or I'll get somebody, or I'll work with somebody to play some live instrumentation. It's like you said, the music background is really big in it. The jazz influences are definitely there.
And we've mentioned your partner in Hinx Jones, Clarence, a couple
mm-hmm.
times, and I did want to ask you more directly about him. Clarence Jones is known as Grits,
mm-hmm.
plays in a handful of bands here in town. He's in Sweet Poison Victim. I believe he's in the Pork and Beans Brass Band as well.
Right.
Clarence is, as we said, just lives for music. You've worked with him now for, it sounds like, over 10 years, 15 years.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. What's it like working with Clarence, and why have you bonded with him and had this long collaboration?
Musically, he's really easy to work with. He doesn't shut ideas down. When you start out together, trying things out, you kind of learn a mutual respect in a sense. So when we're working on a project, even if it's something that I have nothing to do with, like I'm just like mixing it or recording it, I can throw anything out there to him and he can be like, all right, there's no limits to it. He knows his stuff too. So we can have a song that we're working on. He just put out a 3-track EP with Major 7 called Wishing Well.
Sometimes I feel you're my wishing well. Then other days I'm just wishing you well. I know it's you that I see. You're my everything. Sometimes I feel you're my wishing well.
He's got a song on there called Wishing Well. It's the title track. It's like a 2-step hip-hop track of some sorts, but he's got multiple harmonies on it, and stuff like that, but I don't have to coach him. He'll come to me and be like, well, I'll say, what do you want to do? He's like, well, I got a 4-piece harmony on this portion here, then I'm going to have a break, and then I'm going to record this portion, and then I'm going to do this. He understands the process already, so it's effortless at this point.
Mm-hmm. You described the origins of Hinx Jones a moment ago, and it sounded like it kind of came together informally, but it's become kind of the central point of your music-making activities and Clarence's to some degree,
mm-hmm.
and you've released, at this point, 4 LPs, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I wanted to go through those and get your thoughts on each of the albums. Your debut album was the 11-piece in 2010, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yes.
If you want the power, live life, live it to the fullest, live it till you die. If you want the power, live life, live it to the fullest, live it till you die. If you want the power, live life, live it to the fullest, live it till you die. If you want the power, we search for power. And it's not a necessity, but a way of life. And it is a destiny to gain the respect of a world who doesn't care until they see a trend or a style to compare. Competition is power's best friend without competing.
That was the first project that I fully mixed and recorded in Pro Tools, so it was kind of an experimental album as well. We just wanted to see what people liked from us. That's basically what that project was. There were some surprises on it too. The Hey track on there was a song that we recorded in like 45 minutes, made from scratch in 45 minutes in 2007, and people loved it when we performed it out live. But I think it was mostly because Clarence was singing and wailing on it. That became our song. That's really what that project was. It was just kind of a trial, just test, see what people like, see what people don't like. And it was received decently, I think, so.
Yeah, and the follow-up was in 2011, Frozen Liquor,
Mm-hmm.
right?
There is plenty to criticize in hip-hop. There is a lot of, as you would put it, the ugly. But it's impossible, and it creates a disservice if we discount the art form or the genre in its entirety.
That's a great point. The prevalence of hip-hop has created so much difficult art for many people because it's coming from people we're not used to hearing from.
Keep on.
What you looking at? Stop staring, man. I got a gift and rather splendid as a wordsmith. And I'm not knocking you, but you are limited. You're conformed in the box that you are living in. So begin with making decisions that give you benefit rather than trying to fit in. Fitting in reduces your state of being, and conforming to normality is just another sin. So do you with bits and pieces of influential guidance.
I still get people come up to me about Frozen Liquor to this day, which is, it's just kind of funny sometimes. I don't know. Up until our new one, it was probably, I think, my favorite project.
Yeah, man. 'Cause every day is a new chance, a new trial, a new something. I've been up 24 hours in a row, and it's cold as hell outside. I don't think I'm gonna go anywhere. Plus, I like to work till the morning glows. I live my life at night, and I got it from my grandpa. Today would have been his birthday. It reminds me that I've got to keep moving. Everything is timing. Staying up late nights, early morning.
So when we were finishing that album up, the reason it's called Frozen Liquor is because Clarence and I had a close friend that passed about 2 months before we released that. That's really what I remember about Frozen Liquor. Anytime I think about Frozen Liquor, I think about Chris. He passed way too early.
And how does the title relate to him?
His nickname was Crown.
Okay.
He would come over. He was a part of both of our natural evolution of musicians. He wasn't making music with us, but he was there. In the early days, he was sitting in my apartment with me while I was making beats. He was always the silent partner in everything that we were doing. He would come over in our early 20s. What we did was we put a bottle of liquor in the freezer and we made beats for a while, did some stuff, and then we drank, and then maybe we went somewhere or something, but that's where it kind of evolved from. Plus his name being Crown, and, you think of Frozen Liquor and pouring it out, all that stuff. So that's kind of where it stemmed from, is kind of what it means to me. So when I think of Frozen Liquor, I really think of Chris.
Late nights and early mornings, space lights with curly fornicators' hair all in my face, a staring blank gaze, wondering life of a day. Before hype and a cosign, where a man was who he was on the surface with no code lines. A child's face like, hey, teach me, reach me. Now all you're saying is, hey, please me. Self-centered race, claiming that.
At that point, we had played a lot of shows. We'd been out, we'd done stuff. We kind of knew better what people liked from us. I think the album flows really well together. I think it was a good representation, for the most part, of what we did.
This is a song for the others, for the sisters and the brothers, for the friends and the lovers, for the fathers and the mothers, for the lady that you want to date, for the man that you think you hate, for the people that you want to love.
And then in 2013, you made We Do This.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, tell us about We Do This.
We felt like we needed to put music out, is really what that was. We were also working on Soul Hop at the same time. At the time that we released We Do This, we already had 4 songs done for Soul Hop. So it was kind of like a statement, in a sense, saying, we're still here, we still make music. We still make really good stuff. Listen to it.
Fly, so flow until you leave. Fly, so flow until you go, 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 until you go.
It was right when I really started to feel comfortable not sampling, too. So production-wise, you can kind of hear that a little bit, I think.
Representing the crew, you know what it is. Make way for the gateway while we handle our biz. I'm rhyming, keeping it simple for the new jacks. It's 420 and a half, what it do, black? You know I do that. Running through the street with a gang of fire. Saying this is whack makes you a liar. Whatever I rhyme, you can acquire. Might as well go and retire.
What y'all say, what y'all say, what y'all say now? Come help who my yeah. What y'all say, what y'all say, what y'all say now? Come help who my yeah. Yo, I'm loaded like a turban full of cushion. Doing suicides off from outside and
I'm Kyle Long. You're listening to Cultural Manifesto on 90.1 WFYI Public Radio. If you're just tuning in, my guest is Sean Stuart of Hinx Jones, and your new LP is titled Soul Hop.
Soul Hop is my favorite project I've ever worked on. I think it's my especially Clarence and I together, I think it's our best piece of work to date.
I hear him, yup, with the shiny stares. It doesn't really bother me, cause I don't care. But it's always lingering, like a bad note when a trumpet player ain't fingering right. It twerks your ear. I'm tall and skinny, and as white as they come. I'm educated, not a...
It sounds exactly the way it's supposed to. In the past, we've made projects, we've always tried to sprinkle a little bit. I said we tried to try different things. This project, we didn't try to make a fun song. We didn't try to make a song for the women. We didn't try to make a song for this. It was, the format is exactly how it's supposed to be. You know, there's not a lot of up and down with it. It's kind of right in that same realm the whole way. And that's kind of where I wanted to keep people. You know, it's like a mixture between like Foreign Exchange's first album and a Roots album. You know, that's kind of where I wanted to be at. Content-wise, we were getting older, but we don't do the same things we used to, and it's kind of a growth in a sense as a human, so you can kind of follow us on our growth as people. And soul hop is really a mixture of kind of soul and hip hop, and I really wanted to hone in more this album on Clarence and him singing and, you know, playing more stuff. He's singing on like every song this time, and that's, you know, I kind of wanted to fuse that together cohesively, but not take it too far, you know, R&B, soulish, but still keep it hip hop, but get that feeling, and that's kind of the goal for it. So,
and I wanted to ask about a few specific tracks.
Sure.
Tell us about Rubik's Cube, which features Pope Adrian Bless on a guest MC spot.
Wake up early in the morning, picture scriptures in my temple, picture pyramids, Iliads through hieroglyphic rituals, smoke at the Quran as the bomb blaze, riddling pills, crush the dust, and misguided by the timing. I'm a pantomime in the glass box, how I'm feeling, rose-colored lens, Windex with twin texts of feeling, another 5% or 95% of ignorance, and pray for the prey as we're hunted by the swiftiness, Molotov cocktail, drunken by the war in which I'm living in, alcoholism is the new way of giving in, untimely the miles of synagogues, a road to redemption with a pistol in the dashboard. Pray for the non-believers, and to appear as weak as you appear, you should praise the weekend. A house full of balloons and the silence that I dream of, to awake with helium hallways to creep.
I wake up early in the morning and the colors surround me. My life is a puzzle full of pieces astounding, and I sing. I wake up early in the morning and the colors surround me. My life is a puzzle full of pieces astounding, and I sing.
Rubik's Cube, it's an older record that evolved. The song started with Mandog and I and Pope in the same room, and Mandog and I were working on a beat. He brought over his machine, and we were just really kind of banging stuff out, trying to make stuff work. But it like I said, it started with Mandog and I banging out stuff. It's just what it was, and Pope was there sitting on a couch writing to it. And then I wrote the chorus to it, and I was like, Clarence, can you sing this? And he's like, no, you sing it. And I'm like, you sing it. I want you to sing it. And he's like, all right, I'll sing it. So.
Early in the morning and the colors surround me. My life is a puzzle full of pieces astounding, and I sing. In the morning and the colors surround me. My life is a puzzle full of pieces astounding, and I sing.
The track Let It Go, which features Sirius Blvck.
So Il Brown produced that one. He's a very talented producer from the south side of Chicago. But yeah, he sent us that beat, and it was a little bit more up-tempo for the project, but it fit it really well. It's something that you probably wouldn't expect from us, the style and how we rapped it and, did, everything. But Clarence is just like, yeah, I'm going to double time this really. And he was like, I'm going to go at it. I'm like, all right. So I did my thing. He did his. And I was like, I can really hear Sirius on this. I hit him up and I was like, I have a song that I think that you would sound perfect on. And I sent it to him and he's like, yeah, I like it. So it took a while he's a busy man. So it took a while to get him. But once, he came in and he put it down, I was like, this song's great. Yeah. So...
Asleep in the soil, found myself in that dirty net. Shedding my skin, this boa constricted, great escape from that sturdy trap. Now my family is a bunch of ghosts, and we sick of it all like we turning blue. No Pac-Man, but we ready to eat, chasing burning books just to learn the truth. Parachuting off a sidewalk, so I guess you can say I ain't going nowhere. Listen close when the mind talks, my thoughts outlined in that white chalk. I'm a fighter man, love a man, old dirty bastard with a mother man. Brother nature, running the source, who walked in the store with two bloody hands, goddamn. I just wanna do it for the tribe. When I'm in a booth, I ain't never told lies. That weight lifted and gifted to fly. Amidst all the hype and the hate in their eyes. Smoking my perp and a cherry of the fire. All of my skeletons buried in the backyard, along with my deepest desires. 7 a.m. head spinning on the east side. Ceasing to exist where reefer feasting to the sunrise. Let my demons out the place soon as I feel the moonlight. Greatness in me head to toe. Weightless when I let it go.
me about Painted with us, which features a guest MC spot from Skittz.
Skittz and I, obviously, were in cut camp together, but we did Beats and Breakfast for 2 seasons. So that started out as a remix to one of Skitz's songs. It was originally a remix for that, and I liked the beat so much, I was just like, I kind of want this to be an original song. So I remixed his joint to kind of have an old school flavor, and I kept that one. But I took his vocal sample for the chorus, a life, love letter, you can write it exact. It takes a special kind of brush to paint your heart on the track, and it just is like, yeah, it's perfect. So we had our song done, and I was like, I told Skittz, I was like, you should be on here, you know, if you want to be. And he was just like, yeah, all right, let's do it.
Takes a special kind of brush to paint your heart on the track. Takes a special kind of brush to paint your heart on the track. Takes a special kind of brush to paint your heart on the track. Life, love letter, you can write it exact. Takes a special kind of brush to paint your heart on the track. Takes a special kind of brush to paint your heart on the track. Takes a special kind of brush to paint your heart on the track. You always strive to be a bomb technician, scared to pull the pin. Might blow too quick. Feather light is the heart in hand I hold that with. Explosions are appropriate, don't hold that gift. Reattaching all the wires that you cut. Missiles need to burn into the gristle if really that's what you want. Entertain. It's okay to leave a stain, mark of circumstance, knowing that the picture can change. I know I shoot it different, off the glass pippin'. Rebounding machine, subtle but still glisten. Swim with all fish in the boats, I don't use them. Backstroke through turbulent times, didn't choose them. They head though. Feel your way through the darkness, know the landscape and blueprint, prepare for the onset. Brain and ticker, unite quicker, lights flicker, and soon the paper becomes victim. Life, love letter, you can write it exact. Takes a special kind of brush to paint your heart on the track. Takes a special kind of brush to paint your heart on the track. Takes a special kind of brush to paint your heart on the track. Life, love letter, you can write it exact. Takes a special kind of brush to paint your heart on the track. Takes a special kind of brush to paint your heart.
The track Do Better. Tell me about Do Better.
Do Better is a 4-bar loop that Clarence and I made in like 5 minutes. But the content is so much deeper. It's really about doing better as a human being. Don't do these things, do these things. Pay attention to these subtle actions that you do and how you affect people. Clarence is like a 5-piece harmony on there throughout the chorus. We brought in different, string instruments and keys at the end.
Are you a product of your own environment? Being yourself these days, it seems like a strong requirement. I'm just a leaf, floating down the river and giving into the stream till the dream is reality. You have to do what it takes and fight through all the fallacy and fail to know that these are the breaks. So what becomes of the long run? The shortcomings of success never slept on the outcome. The truth is what you make of it, but a lie, it seems to make a break from it. A wise man once said that we live and learn, but I say we live vicariously through others and never learn ourselves. So what's the point in living if you can never fully live for yourself? In retrospect, I guess we all need help, and blind to the fact we need wisdom to learn the difference.
The last track I wanted to ask about off Soul Hop, which again has a deeper lyrical content, is Nothing. Tell us about Nothing. It sort of addresses like the commercialism in popular rap music, right?
Yeah, and it's just in general as a person in society nowadays, it's so easy to say, well, I need to do these things. It definitely addresses the commercialism in music. The choruses are at the end, it's like, I may have nothing that you have, but my life is amazing, is the message, And we're talking about, just look around you. You don't need stuff that you don't need. The greatness in life is the relationships you build with people and helping people get, out with their lives and things like that. Contemplate your life a little bit, think about what you do. So, and that's really the whole project.
I have nothing but the greatest life, the greatest gift, the greatest strife. I have nothing but the greatest friends. I have my faith, and yet I live for life, the greatest gift. I have nothing, I'm pertaining to it. I have my freedom, I may have nothing that you have, but it's amazing.
I may have nothing that you have, but that's the way I like it, and that's the way I write it. My word is written down through my bond, I don't fight it. I may be nothing in your mind, but my words you might get. Undeniable, viable, I don't shrug it off. If it is worth a thought, then it is worth my heart. And you can have the world, and I will take my time. And if it means that much to you, then you can have this rhyme. You can be that fly, and you can be that guy. Cause when you break it down, man, I'm happy with myself. And I know you think I'm off, but I don't need your wealth, and I don't have your hoes, but my woman cares about my health, and that's real wealth. I feel stealth when I write this, king of what matters. I want her to care more about the food, and yes, less about the platter.
I have nothing but the greatest life, the greatest gift, the greatest strife. I have nothing but the greatest.
I'm Kyle Long. You're listening to Cultural Manifesto on 90.1 WFYI Public Radio. If you're just tuning in, my guest is Sean Stuart of Hinx Jones, MC, producer. You have a lot of different projects going on, Sean, and I wanted to give you a chance to talk about some of those. Beyond your work in Hinx Jones, you're also very well known for a hip-hop blog you founded, and you, I guess, are the main editor of this blog. It's called Bringing Down the Band.
Yes. Bringing Down the Band is a hip-hop blog and brand. I started it in 2009. I felt like Indianapolis needed a counterculture voice of sorts in the realm of the music that I liked, and that's kind of where it came from. So today we share a lot of Indiana music. We share a lot of soul music, a lot of instrumental beat type stuff. Have new stuff up on there all the time. We've thrown shows and done stuff like that. But we've done a lot of good things with Bringing Down the Band.
Yeah, it's more than just a blog. It is. It does have a presence in the community. As you mentioned, you do shows under that banner, and it kind of brings together elements of the beat production community and the hip-hop community and kind of the R&B community, as you mentioned. Yeah.
It's myself and 3 or 4 other people. DJ J Diff is one. We try to do things around here that we try to expose people to stuff that we're exposed to that we think would be cool that other people, should be exposed to. Earlier on when we were throwing shows, the idea and mindset was, let's bring in people from out of town that are doing things and expose them to the artists here and create that opportunity for artists to meet these people, to be able to grow beyond that, create that relationship and expand and do the things that they want to do.
Another project you've been working on recently is No Cosign Records, right? Yeah, that's a label that you created?
Yeah, I don't know how much longer I'm going to continue rhyming and performing as a rapper. It's not that I don't enjoy it, it's just that I feel like I benefit more people behind the scenes as a curator in certain instances, such as Bringing Down the Band and such as being a producer or stuff, those ways. I've been wanting to start a record label for a long time. I wasn't sure if I really wanted, it's one of those things like, do I really want to dive in and do that? So yeah, I launched it in September. We have 7 or 8 artists on board. We're not a traditional label in the sense that I sign people to long contracts or anything like that. I work with people on a per project basis. And it's just, I work with distribution and I try to help people. I try to take all of the business side that artists have to deal with out of it. I work with so many artists that are so talented, but their careers are hindered a little bit because they have to do all the other extra things. But it is mostly hip-hop and the eclecticness that's around hip-hop. Is kind of the best way to describe it. So a lot of beat stuff, a lot of beat producers that want to put out instrumental projects.
You mentioned a few minutes ago that you don't really see yourself continuing as an MC. Where does that leave the future of Hinx Jones? Is that a project you still want to continue to move forward, or?
That's a conversation that Clarence and I haven't really had yet. I'm not sure yet. I think we're always going to make music, at the end of the day. But as far as really trying to push Hinx Jones as an entity takes a lot of work. I know that we both have goals in other areas, so I'm not going to say that we're never going to put out another project again or anything like that, but it probably won't be a push like it was in 2011, where we're really trying to get out and play show. It'll probably be like, hey, let's do a small project and put it out and maybe shoot a video for it and just give it to people. It probably won't be like, let's tour the States or try to tour the States or anything like that. I think we've kind of come to terms in general, at least I have kind of come to terms in general, that that's not necessarily where my place is. And I'm okay with that. So
I'm Kyle Long. You're listening to Cultural Manifesto on 90.1 WFYI Public Radio. My guest this evening is Sean Stuart of Hinx Jones. Sean, you're a producer, MC, record label executive now, the founder of the Bringing Down the Band blog, and just an all-around force in Indianapolis hip-hop. I wanted to give you a chance to let folks know how they can keep up with you online and check out all your projects and the new Hinx Jones album, Soul Hop. If you could run all that down for us. It's a big list.
Real quickly, bringingdowntheband.com, you can find everything there, hip-hop-wise in Indiana. We have a special section there called Hip Hop Indiana, and it's actually hiphopindiana.com, and it links directly to our Indiana hip-hop portion, and we share everything Indiana hip-hop without a filter. I would definitely plug that because we've been really trying to get that into people's ears and for the last couple years to help grow our scene even further. No Cosign Records is where all my stuff is right now, all my new stuff, I guess. If you go nocosign.com, then you'll be able to find all that stuff. Me personally, Lonegevity.com, that's L-O-N-E, Gevity, G-E-V-I-T-Y, and it's at Lonegevity on everything, so that's where you can find my music. I'll be putting out a couple series of instrumental projects. I've put out probably 10 in the past. I'm going to drop one in January that I've worked on for about 2 years. We talked about my production. It's different. It's another way out there. So, but yeah, so that's where you can find me.
I'm Kyle Long. You're listening to Cultural Manifesto on 90.1 WFYI Public Radio. My guest tonight has been Sean Stuart, Lonegevity of the hip-hop group Hinx Jones, and I certainly recommend everyone to check out their new LP, Soul Hop. It's an excellent album. I think it's the best work you guys have created, and I'm a big fan of that album. Sean, thank you for being here. Is there any final track you'd want to leave folks with?
I'll just say my favorite record on our new Soul Hop album is Slow Dance.
Slow Dance? Okay.
Yeah. It's kind of a metaphor for how we dance through life and the different steps and the different ways we move through and each individual picks. And it's just one of my favorites. So
great. Just Slow Dance. Hinx
Slow
Jones.
Dance.
Thanks for being here, Sean. Appreciate it.
Thank you, Kyle.
I grab a vibe and I run with it. Turn it up, grab a drink, yeah, come funk with it. You see the lights down low, it don't stop. My homies, we ill trill, the wheel will fill grills with stills of chill feelings. Know me, cause you all know me. And yes, I'm Lona, the one and only. A soul controller holding the future, strolling bit by bit. I don't bite with energy in the megawatts. I rock gigs, basement and terradomes. I feel the pheromones, man, I stare at clones. But we still do the dance, you trance to your own step and play to your own part. Well, I guess more is less. Unless, nah, I'll stick with it. You talk again, I'll play the back and still get it. You and me, we have the roles we play. It's not really a game, but we dance to the beat in our own way.
We dancing slowly, so slow. We dancing slowly. We dance so slow. We dancing slowly. We dance so slow. We dancing slowly. We dance so slow.
amplified the rhythm. Dance to the beat of my own drum with cymbals, a hi-hat keeping time. With a kick like a heartbeat, measured by rhyme. I'm defined by the struggles I face. Every thrill that I chase, even my color of race. I never follow they pace, cause the metronome doesn't really tick to my bass. I'm just my own man, following my art to escape. All the artifacts, all of that just to bother my place. I can't tolerate the booze, so let me hollow my space. I move, and still I groove. I still have a sideline of people that'll hate on this tune, and it's cool. I have a strong mind, so my will to succeed will tap dance far beyond this rhyme. And if you move to your own tune, let the music grow through this song, and you can sing along.
We dancing slow.
I'm Kyle Long. You're listening to Cultural Manifesto on 90.1 WFYI Public Radio.